hang on, you've just...
No, I like it. This is brilliant, but I like this.
The S21 has been revealed, and it's bigger and better than ever. In reality though, if you thought the Note 20 had a shelf of a camera setup, the S21 puts it to shame. The main reason may be due to the specs between the two camera setups being pretty much the same, except for the S21 having a 10 megapixel telephoto instead of a 12 megapixel telephoto on the Note 20. But Jesus, does it take up so much more of the phone's back? I wonder at what point the phone just is going forego the bump and make the phone overall thicker, and at least you'd get a bigger battery out of it. The camera cluster isn't where the similarities end. The screen sizes are almost the exact same size, just being off by fractions of an inch, as well as being 120 Hz. But perhaps the most interesting addition to the S21 is S Pen compatibility. The S Pen, which was once reserved for the prosumer Note series, can now be used on the normal S series. But unlike the Note, you'll have to buy the S Pen separately with ideally a case to keep it all neat and tidy. Once again, Samsung is blurring the line between the S series and the Note series. Personally, I do not like this crossover between the features that they have been doing. The Note series has always been intended to be their high-end line where price was not necessarily the most important aspect. Instead, having the bleeding edge of what tech was available along with being packed to the brim of features. In comparison, the S series was the phone that you could pick up for a reasonable price tag, but it wouldn't be lagging compared to the competition. With the S Pen compatibility, price hikes, and just overall feature parity between the Note series and the S series, the line between the two become blurrier. This all adds scary credence to the rumor that Samsung is planning on axing the Note line sooner rather than later. Next in the news, Apple's plan for a car does not seem to be going according to plan. Project Titan, as Apple dubbed it, was originally going to be contracted to Hyundai to manufacture the new Apple car, which was expected as early as 2027. But while Hyundai would be able to manufacture the vehicle, they would not be allowed to sell it. This point has possibly raised the most contention with the deal between Hyundai and Apple, but it isn't the only snag. Reporters are saying Hyundai is more worried about their brand value being diluted due to being associated with Apple, one of the world's largest brands. This comes in the form of a few future possibilities. One scenario, albeit very unlikely, is one day Hyundai just becomes part of Apple, losing all autonomy. You could say that this is the worst case scenario for Hyundai, but it's not impossible considering that Apple does like to control all aspects of their production and does have the capital, especially if things turned out to be a worthwhile adventure. As I said, this is pretty much a pipe dream and incredibly unlikely. The more reasonable explanation is that Hyundai is trying to make a push to make the Genesis name one associated with luxury. With this, there may be some conflict now pushing two luxury brands. And with the Apple brand having much more of a luxury reputation, it would overshadow Genesis to a point where the brand goes under. A much more reasonable explanation of why Hyundai might not want to move forward with this deal. So what other moves are there? After all, a deal like this would be absolute stonks for both companies. Well, Hyundai might just outsource manufacturing of the Apple car to Kia, another Korean car company they have 30% ownership over. This might be the best solution for both parties involved, as Kia doesn't quite carry the brand image Hyundai Genesis brand has. As for the last two stories, they both involve Intel. First on the block is some news about their dedicated GPU. As of January 26th, Intel has started shipping their Xe cards to their OEMs. Great news to see that there's now other players in the GPU market, right? Not exactly. What I find most interesting with this design they have settled on is pretty much a copy and paste of their Tiger Lake iGPU. I mean, come on, just look at these stats. It literally seems like they just slapped their Iris graphics onto a PCB, add a PCIe connector, and called it a day. Seriously, this has been designed for enough time that it feels like Intel should have been able to design something with a little bit more oomph. I do believe that some people may have been believing that this would be a new graphics card that would enter the market and make AMD and Nvidia take notice. But if this is all we have for now, it feels like it'll be a while before anything noteworthy comes out of Intel's venture into dedicated GPUs. Stack this on top of Intel's increasing issue to shrink their die size, and the future does not look so hot for them. Luckily, they may have an out for this. Last week, Intel signed a contract with TSMC to produce their 3nm CPUs. This comes with Pat Gelsinger taking the helm of Intel. And if you remember from our last episode of Pat's Assault, we speculated that he was not so keen on outsourcing production of their own chips, and he even poked fun at Apple for outsourcing to TSMC. So that brings up the question of why the deal was struck. From what Gelsinger has said on the matter, he seems to be confident that Intel will have their in-house production up to snuff by 2023. That would indicate that this deal is set up to primarily be a stopgap until Intel is back on its feet and can produce its own chips effectively again with the given die size goals. This move allows Intel to offload the strain of balancing manufacturing and R&D. With the given timeframe of 2023, this has also given Intel the chance to see if it's worth continuing using TSMC as a partner for their production. Why do this? Let's just take a look back at the debacle of the most recent graphics card release by AMD and Nvidia and their supply issue. To try to prevent this in the future, Intel may need the help of TSMC to make enough products for various releases to ensure that shortages are not as common. That's just my speculation though, so take it with a grain of salt. And with that, that's going to do it for this week in tech-related salt. Make sure to like the video, subscribe for more tech content, and have hit the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter at tech_for_thought. And if video games are more of your thing, check out our affiliate, cultureofgaming.com, for all of your latest gaming news, reviews, and opinion pieces. See you next time.